Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince and current river corpse, has been arrested and now may be banned from ever taking the throne. In fact, the royal family said the only way he can become king is if it comes down to either him or Meghan.
Electric cars, he's going to Mars. Why is he even involving himself with Twitter? It would be like if the Prince of England gave it all up just to marry an actor from Suits.
All they had to do was shut up and do nothing. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were probably going to get their best news cycle in years, because we know deep down they want to bring down the British royal family.
Here it comes. Reopen British markets for American companies. All that Britain demands in return.
Why aren't they pushing this nuclear button and just let the world know about Meghan Markle?
Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they need it.
And highlight the mucky murkiness and mendacious manner of this alleged yacht girl.
Some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time. There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s. Wow.
The one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew. I'm guessing that he has been nudging the royal family. Can you believe what Meghan did, huh? Can you believe it?
Nobody expected the room to go that quiet. One quick joke, 10 seconds, and suddenly the entire studio froze for a split second. Colin Jost stood on one of the biggest comedy stages in America, looked straight into the camera, and delivered a punchline that caught everyone off guard. The only way Prince Andrew becomes king is if it comes down to him or Meghan. At first, the crowd groaned, then a few laughs slipped out, and then the whole place burst out laughing. It was like people needed a second to process what he just said before it fully hit them. Even Colin struggled to keep a straight face after dropping that line. And right there, live on national television, Meghan Markle's carefully managed image suddenly didn't look quite as untouchable.
Savage comparison to Prince Andrew. This was on the Weekend Update section with Colin Jost, who has mocked Meghan before. Like, I gotta say, I think this one's the biggest roast yet. You ready for it? Here we go.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince and current river corpse.
Look at that. I gotta pause also for commentary purposes. That photo, my God, how did that get out? Oh, he looks, I mean, good. I'm not, but my God, he does look like a river corpse.
But here's the part most people aren't really noticing. That moment didn't just appear out of nowhere. Weeks earlier, the same show and the same host had already tested the waters with another sharp joke. Colin Jost brought up a brand new trade deal.
Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
No, I refuse.
That had been making headlines everywhere. Then he delivered the punchline. Great news for both sides. Britain's only demand, America keeps Meghan Markle. Boom. The audience lost it instantly. And here's the real reason that moment mattered. A joke like that only lands if the crowd already understands the mood behind it. You don't throw a line like that onto live television unless the writers, producers, and the viewers all feel the same shift happening. And clearly, they did. 2 different nights, 2 big jokes, both landing perfectly and spreading across the internet within hours.
Day Night Live in the Weekend Update for the second time roasting Meghan Markle. This is gonna hurt. Watch.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former prince and current river corpse, has been arrested and now may be banned from ever taking the throne. In fact, the royal family said the only way he can become king is if it comes down to either him or Meghan.
Keep in mind, this is the same show that once portrayed Meghan and Harry as people caught inside a harsh system and relentless media pressure. But now things looked very different. Meghan suddenly became the center of not just one brutal punchline, but 2. That kind of switch doesn't happen by accident. The writers knew exactly what they were doing. They were reading the room and leaning right into the moment. And once a massive comedy stage turns you into the punchline, it becomes incredibly hard for even the best PR strategy to flip the story back around. So the real question is simple. Why now? Why did the tone change so quickly? Because the pressure around this story isn't slowly building anymore. It's hitting from every direction at once. And today, we're breaking down every piece of what's really going on, starting with the joke that made the whole room explode. Nobody expected the room to go that quiet. One fast joke, one hard pause, and suddenly the whole place was locked in. Colin Jost walked onto one of the biggest comedy stages in America, looked straight at the camera, and dropped a line that hit like a shockwave. The only way Prince Andrew becomes king is if it comes down to him or Meghan. First came the groan. Then the laughs started rolling in. Then the room broke wide open. It felt like everybody needed 1 second to catch what he really meant. Even Colin looked like he almost lost it after saying it.
There's a serious side to the SNL comedy. I don't usually agree with it because it's very left-wing. But effectively what they're saying here is that, yep, we agree, Meghan Markle, less popular than Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
And in that moment, live on national TV, Meghan Markle's polished public image looked a lot less untouchable than before. But this is where it gets interesting. That joke didn't feel random, and it didn't feel like a one-time risk. A few weeks earlier, same stage, same host, another line had already started pushing in the same direction. He brought up a trade deal that had people talking, then hit the audience with, "Great news for both sides. Britain's only demand, America keeps Meghan Markle." Boom! The crowd knew exactly what to do with that one. And that matters, because a joke like that only works when the room is already there with you. Writers know it, producers know it, audiences know it. You don't put that kind of punchline on live TV unless people are already feeling a shift in the mood. 2 different nights, 2 separate jokes, and both of them landed fast and spread online even faster. That's what makes this bigger than a cheap laugh. For a long time, Meghan and Harry were framed as people battling a cold institution and a harsh press. That was the story many viewers had been sold for years. But now the tone looks different. Now Meghan isn't being protected from the joke. She is the joke. And once a major comedy platform starts treating someone like open material, that says something about where public opinion may be heading. It means the room has changed. It means the old script may not be working the same way anymore. So the real question is not just why the joke landed. The real question is why it landed now. And that's where the Prince Andrew part becomes so brutal. The line was never meant as praise for him. It was meant as a brutal measuring stick. He became the reference point for how far Meghan's public standing may have slipped in the eyes of that crowd. That first groan said everything. People got the sting right away, and then the laugh came because the line felt outrageous, harsh, and weirdly on target all at once. Still, the deeper story here is not about one joke. It's about the pileup around Meghan's image that has been building for a while now.
Very unlikable, and the reason is because they're so fake and disingenuous and aren't honest. Why were they in the Middle East doing this trip to Jordan? Now again, we've touched upon it. I've said it over and over again, but I think it's important as even now Page 6 is coming out with more proof. They've shuttered the foundation, pretty much. Their whole charity organization is pretty much over. This latest quasi-royal trip is being questioned after Page 6 revealed that the couple has essentially shuttered their Archewell Foundation and let go nearly of all their staffers.
Online, people have been digging back through her pre-royal years, revisiting old interviews, old blog posts, old networking stories, and the carefully built brand that came before the palace years. Before the Duchess title, before the global speeches, before the high-profile deals, there was Meghan the actress, the blogger, the social climber in the eyes of critics, and the ambitious public figure trying to move into bigger rooms. That early chapter is getting re-examined in a huge way. People are reading old posts differently now. They're looking at glamorous events, elite circles, and polished lifestyle branding through a much more skeptical lens. Some of the chatter online goes way too far, and a lot of it is still speculation, not proof. But the reason it keeps coming back is simple. People think the gap between the image and the reality might be bigger than they were first told. Even old stories about how intentional her rise may have been are suddenly getting fresh attention. Not because ambition is shocking by itself, but because every move now gets folded into a bigger theory about strategy, status, and image management. And once that frame takes hold, every joke hits harder, every clip spreads faster, and every old detail starts looking like another piece of a much messier puzzle.
And she is now living in denial. She thinks she can somehow pick up the pieces of her shattered life and resume what she used to do, which was, ligging money off people, coming up with rubbish projects, borrowing money, being paid for, and just generally jet-setting around the world freeloading. Well, nobody wants to know her anymore.
Every invite, every connection, every handshake with someone powerful suddenly looks different now. What once seemed like normal networking is now being picked apart piece by piece online. People are examining every step from those early years, asking the same question again and again. Was all of it part of a bigger strategy? And Meghan's response to all the noise? Total silence. No statement, no public denial, no legal threat, no long message about speaking your truth. Just quiet. And that's what makes people raise their eyebrows, because this is someone who has never been shy about taking legal action when her reputation felt under attack. Remember, she once sued a major British newspaper over a private letter. For years, legal pressure has been one of the main ways her team pushed back against negative stories. If something crossed the line, the response usually came fast and strong. But now, nothing. And that silence is starting to speak louder than any statement could. To some observers, it doesn't look calm or dignified. It looks strategic, like a team behind closed doors trying to figure out which headline to tackle first and which one to ignore. Because when something is clearly false, the usual move is simple: shut it down immediately, loudly, and legally. Instead, the quiet itself has become part of the conversation. Then another detail started circulating that made the situation even more intense. Old photographs began popping up online, showing a young Meghan Markle standing with Prince Andrew. Not recent pictures either. These go way back, long before Harry, during the years when she was still building her acting career and moving through influential social circles.
He knows that Meghan Markle was a hoe. He knows that Meghan Markle had a relationship with Prince Andrew. He knows that he is stuck in California. He knows he has wrecked his life with a D-list mattress act.
Suddenly, people started connecting dots. Every event appearance, every introduction, every high-profile gathering from that time is being revisited. Critics say it looks like a carefully planned climb through powerful networks. Supporters argue it was simply normal career networking in elite circles. Either way, the photos added more fuel to the debate. Meghan had previously said she didn't personally know Andrew, but the existence of those images keeps the conversation alive.
Why is the press and the palace refusing to look or comment or report on Meghan Markle's links to the same individual, and most importantly, her relationship, her close personal relationship with Prince Andrew?
And according to people close to Andrew, he has reportedly been watching the recent headlines with what they describe as quiet amusement. Think about that for a second. A man who lost his official roles and stepped away from public life is now, according to those claims, sitting back and observing the storm unfold. And that detail alone has people wondering whether there are still pieces of this story the public hasn't heard yet. And here's another strange part of the whole situation. The same mainstream media that spent years analyzing every detail around Prince Andrew suddenly shows very little curiosity about any possible connection between him and Meghan. No deep questions, no aggressive digging, nothing loud at all. Yet a major comedy stage just placed her below him in a brutal public joke. That contrast alone has people asking why. While the internet kept pulling apart stories from Meghan's past, another narrative was playing out on camera. Harry and Meghan appeared overseas in Jordan on what was presented as a humanitarian visit connected to global health efforts.
Look at these photo ops, how Meghan does it all to camera. Who else gets caught like this with photos? Like, when you're doing charity, do you often position yourself to be right near holding hands with and make sure your face is presented to camera, and also having a camera person there to take these shots? It's all so orchestrated and manipulative.
The photos were everywhere. Smiling faces, warm lighting, carefully framed moments that looked polished and purposeful. But critics quickly pointed out something else happening behind the scenes. The Archewell Foundation, once introduced as a major platform for their charitable work, has faced questions about its activity and structure. Some former staff have moved on, projects have shifted, and observers argue the organization has not delivered the scale of impact people originally expected. Supporters say building a new foundation takes time. Critics say the public mainly sees appearances and photo moments rather than large projects. And one particular image from that Jordan trip started circulating heavily online. In the photo, a senior Jordanian princess is speaking to the group. She is experienced, respected, and very much the authority in the room. But viewers noticed Meghan appearing focused on where the camera was positioned, slightly adjusting her stance as the moment unfolded.
She always knows where the camera is, doesn't she? Everybody's listening to this lady, Prince Harry, everybody. Meghan's eyes directly to the camera. And, but that smile, there's nothing to smile about. It is incredibly creepy.
Supporters say she was simply aware of media presence. Critics claim it looked like she was concentrating more on the shot than the speech. Then, another moment from the visit sparked debate online. Meghan posed for photos with a young burn survivor during the trip, smiling and offering support during the meeting. Some viewers saw it as a compassionate gesture during a humanitarian visit. Others compared the imagery to famous public moments once associated with Princess Diana, which led to fresh arguments on social media about symbolism and image building. At the same time, people online brought up Meghan's complicated relationship with her father, who has faced serious health struggles in recent years. Critics often question why the relationship remains distant, while supporters argue that family issues are private and complicated. Still, the contrast between global public appearances and unresolved personal family tensions keeps fueling discussion. And then there's Prince Harry standing in the middle of all this. He once walked away from royal duties, his home country, and the structured life he had known for decades. Friends, commentators, and royal watchers warned that the transition would bring intense pressure and scrutiny.
Where you feel like royalty, because Harry and Meghan have to constantly keep feeling like they're royalty, because they're grifters, they're faking it. There was nothing royal about this tour. You can stay in the same suite as William and Catherine, but it doesn't make the visit royal.
Now, as the headlines keep piling up, many observers say he sometimes looks like someone still adjusting to the weight of those decisions and the storm that followed. Before the wedding ever happened, people close to Prince Harry say the warnings were already there. His brother William reportedly tried to slow things down and told him to take more time before rushing into marriage. Even Meghan's own half-brother went public with a message asking Harry to reconsider. It was messy, uncomfortable, and very public. And then something else started happening. Friends who had known Harry for most of his life slowly faded out of the picture. Longtime connections disappeared, old circles changed, and many of the people who once had his ear were suddenly gone. Critics say that left him surrounded by fewer voices willing to challenge big decisions. Supporters argue it was simply the natural shift that happens when someone builds a new life. But to people watching from the outside, the story began to feel heavier than just celebrity drama.
What do you make of the fact that Harry and Meghan now seem to be going all in on this hard left ideology? Because you've obviously got the Hamas talking points that they were criticized in the Middle East for, and this woman is anything but someone who's on the mainstream. It's almost as if they have realized that their only base now is the hard left extremist base.
For many royal watchers, the reaction toward Harry isn't only anger, it's disappointment mixed with something closer to grief. They remember the younger prince who served in the military, joked easily with crowds, and looked deeply connected to his family. And when the warnings came before the wedding, many believe he brushed them aside completely, which brings the spotlight straight to another uncomfortable question. King Charles still hasn't made a clear move on the royal titles. Harry and Meghan continue to hold the titles of Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and those titles still carry serious weight. They add credibility, media attention, and commercial value to everything connected to their brand. Critics argue that if those titles were removed, the entire structure around their public image could change overnight. Big deals might lose their royal glow. Public appearances might carry less influence. The brand itself would suddenly look very different. The pressure grew even louder after their recent international visits sparked debate. Some commentators described the trips as looking like unofficial diplomatic tours, even though they were not representing the British government or the royal household.
Why are these two going? How much does it cost for these two to go? And why do they keep allowing this to happen? I don't get it. Now, as you'll remember, they did, similar visits to Nigeria, Colombia. They love these faux royal tours to go out there to make it seem like they're, royals, when we all know.
That raised eyebrows in political and media circles. At one point, comments Harry made about the conflict in Gaza drew pushback from officials who said the claims were inaccurate. That moment quickly became international news. A prince connected to the British royal family was suddenly being challenged by a foreign government while still holding royal titles. And that's why the debate keeps growing louder. For critics, this isn't just celebrity gossip anymore. They argue it has become a serious question about responsibility, diplomacy, and the role those titles still play on the world stage. Each week, the discussion grows stronger, and more voices keep asking the same thing. How long can this situation stay exactly as it is? And this brings everything back to that moment on the comedy stage. Not because a joke is the most serious thing happening, it isn't. There are much bigger debates surrounding this entire story. Old photographs being discussed online, questions about past connections, criticism aimed at public projects, family tensions playing out in the open. All of that carries far more weight than a late-night punchline. But the joke still mattered for one powerful reason. When a major American comedy show, one many viewers believed was supportive of Harry and Meghan for years, suddenly places Meghan in a punchline next to Prince Andrew, the reaction says a lot. The audience didn't hesitate. they laughed. Moments like that can signal that the public mood may be shifting in a noticeable way. And once that shift starts, it spreads fast. Commentators who once held back begin sharing stronger opinions. People who avoided the topic online suddenly start posting about it. Conversations that used to feel awkward or controversial start happening out in the open. Once that door opens, it's almost impossible to fully close it again. Meanwhile, the larger story keeps growing. Online discussions continue circling around old rumors, earlier headlines, and the ongoing debate about Harry and Meghan's public projects. Critics say their foundation has struggled to show major results. Supporters argue their work simply doesn't receive the same attention as projects tied directly to the palace. Either way, the arguments keep building. Family tensions remain part of the conversation too, especially the painful public rift between Meghan and her father. For many viewers, that part of the story feels less like celebrity gossip and more like a complicated family situation playing out in front of the world. And then there's the detail people can't stop talking about. Some commentators claim Prince Andrew has been quietly watching the recent headlines from the sidelines. No interviews, no public reaction, just silence. Yet the idea that he might be observing everything unfold has only added more curiosity to an already intense story. So now the real question hanging in the air is simple. What parts of this story are we still not seeing yet? And how much more might surface as time goes on? And honestly, I'm curious what you think about all of this. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it. And if you enjoy these kinds of deep dives and breakdowns, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next one.